This is the Chris and Mike Show. I'm Chris, he's Mike, and this is Joshua Mack. Did I say that right, Josh?
Yeah, you did.
Do
Welcome,
you
Congratulations.
Joshua.
prefer do you prefer Josh or Joshua?
Josh, but when I try to do business things, I think Joshua sounds more professional, but
Okay.
Josh is fine.
Okay, cool. Right on. So welcome to the show. For those of you that are just joining in, we are live on Twitch and YouTube, so that's always fun. And so, Josh, we just kind of dive into shit, man. We don't. We're kind of really informal. We just have conversations. So tell us who you are, what you're all about, and why you wanted to come on our show that's broadcasting into 22 countries now.
Hey, congratulations. That's an amazing feat.
Thank you. Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So my name's Josh Mack. I also go by J Mac. It's also the
Okay.
name of the podcast that I started where I combat veteran and first responder suicide, one story, one
Hmm.
conversation at a time. A little
Nice.
backstory about me. I grew up in a small country town in the
Okay.
south, like 45 minutes south of Chicago. But
Where
whatever
are
you
you
think,
at?
it's called Beecher.
Okay, I'm in Pontiac.
Yeah, and my hometown's Pleasant Plains, Illinois, just outside of Springfield. We had 804 population about 10 years ago.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think you beat me. I graduated with like 80 kids.
Okay, I was only there till I was 3, but it's still my
Okay.
hometown. So I don't, I don't,
Okay.
I don't know what size of all the things are. I just went back to for my grandmother's funeral, and all of a sudden they had a monument. When you enter the town,
Yeah.
and it was like population 804. I was like, oh wow,
Oh, wow.
huge.
Metropolis.
Absolutely.
So continue, J Mac.
Yeah. So I grew up like volunteering and helping with my dad, who is now a retired police officer.
Okay,
Uh, so I always had that desire to serve and give back to the community. I decided to join the Marine Corps
nice.
2013 to 17. Non-combat, didn't see any deployments, anything like that. I went to Oman for about a month. Is that
My
your Marine
son's a,
Corps
my
boot
son,
camp?
my son's a devil dog.
All right. Semper
Yeah,
Fi.
yeah, buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then so after I got out of the Marine Corps, everyone's like, "You're gonna get lost," all this expectations, and I was like, "No, I'm not. That's not gonna happen to me." And well, it happened to me. And one day I seen my buddy post a meme that said, "Stop doing the push-ups and pick up the phone and call your buddy,"
Ah,
referencing the 22 a day push-up
mm,
challenge.
mm.
And then I went to therapy and I told my therapist that I had this idea. I pitched it to a former baseball player, but due to liability reasons, he didn't want to do it. And she tried to convince me to go live in her office right then and there to start the podcast.
Wow.
I was like, "You're crazy. Let's switch chairs real quick." But I went home and made the video like I promised, and that started the JMac podcast.
Cool. That's awesome.
That
That's
is
I'm
awesome.
I'm Yeah, I don't know how much you've watched about us and the show and whatnot, but I'm all about volunteering. I was a meal coordinator for a homeless outreach service for over 3 years. I got on the board of that company. Unfortunately, I saw some things that I wouldn't shut up about, so they asked me to leave. I've since gone into the Rotary Club in Mesa, which is all about volunteering. We do 24 different volunteering things a year. I've run. My wife and I are runners, so every time something comes up with the Wounded Warriors or 22 Too Many, we're all about that. So, and obviously military family. So, yeah, nothing but mad respect for what you've started, based and what you've kind of explained it's about, because it's a true thing. Like our son's kind of struggling with right now. Like you said, when you get out of the Marine Corps, it's like you're lost, and so he kind of goes back and forth whether he's going to stay go. But so now he's kind of in that mindset that he wants to get out at the end of his 8.5 years. And we're focused on him kind of get lined up with what you want to do afterwards, right? Because you spend your entire life in the Marines being told what to do.
Yeah.
And then you get out and it's like, well, now what? Because nobody is there to tell you what to do. So I think, and I couldn't serve. They wouldn't let me in because my asthma was too bad. I tried everybody but the Air Force, and they all told me to go home. So you were non-combat. My son's non-combat because he was a backup shipper, right? So he got stuck in this box of 3 jobs, and the only one that he could do was the accounting, supply, and logistics because he's color deficient. So it's a real thing, right? When you get out, all of a sudden it's like you decompress a little bit, right? And you're kind of like, oh, I'm free. And then what? Take us down that path so people understand it's not that you're PTSD, that kind of shit, especially non-combat, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong there, but once you get out, you kind of have this like, now what, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, what's best is at least 6 months prior to already be planning at least 6 months
Right.
prior to getting out, be planning, have a plan. But the real key, I believe, is finding your purpose outside of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Like your purpose inside the Marine Corps is to serve and
Mhm.
do what your country's asking of you, right? And then
Right.
you get out, and as you stated, we have no one telling us what to do. Everything I ran away from that I wanted out, the reasons I wanted out of the Marine Corps is actually what made me successful in life and all the tools that I
Right.
need. You know, I
Yeah.
need that structure, I need that
Mhm.
routine. So make sure he keeps the structure of routine, get in the gym, get
Mm.
in with veteran organizations before you feel like you need veteran organizations.
Nice.
Did you say you're in Mesa, Arizona?
Well, it might as well be Mesa Chandler. I'm in the East Valley, so yeah, I'm in that
Okay, I'm
general
in
area.
Surprise.
Oh, right on. What up, dude?
Yeah, so
Neighbors.
September, I'm going to help you out one step forward. I created
Okay.
this event called the Sandbox. It's a networking event for veterans and first responders
Okay.
that focus on providing mental health resources. I do a 30-minute podcast recording, and then I
Nice.
pull up the mental health resources that I brought in and give them up to 2 minutes to give their spiel, who they
Cool.
are, what they do, how they help, and how they can use help. It's once a month. So
Right on.
Thursday, September 25th will be my next one.
Okay.
Um, and my whole purpose of that is I'm for veterans and first responders, but truthfully, how can I have a mental health organization and just because you don't fit the niche, I'm going to tell you to piss off? So
Right.
I don't believe in that. So I'm for everyone, but we're going to be
Yeah.
everything we do is led by veterans and first responders.
Cool.
That's
That's
awesome.
fantastic, man. That is
Absolutely.
very cool. I have all kinds of people walking to my door, man.
I
Who's
see that.
behind me, Mike?
Amazon.
Amazon again.
always
So
Amazon.
so the thing in I'm putting this on our Facebook page right now, J Mac. So
Cool.
what is? Let me get your name down here, Joshua Mack. Whoops. Oh, it's being stupid. Joshua Mack, i.e. J Mac. So what's the sandbox you said it was called?
Yes, sir. It's in Marley
Two
Park.
words? 2 words or one word?
Sandbox is one word.
Okay. Yeah, because I was making sure. So now, explain that again. It's a monthly meetup with.
The words that I'm calling it right now is a monthly networking event for veterans and first responders with mental health resources and a live podcast recording so they can hear the real raw vulnerable conversations that need to be had. Like everyone struggles.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
combat or not, you still struggle from the military. But truthfully, most of our struggles start with our childhood. The
Yeah.
beginning, this first sandbox we were in that traumatized us, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like it's basically how we react today is what we learned or did not learn as a child growing up. And then you join the military or whatever life experience you go through, and that just compounds onto the traumas and all that you have. So really we just gotta go back and heal our inner child to work through all of our traumas.
That's deep, man.
Absolutely.
I never thought of it that way because I mean, yeah, that's interesting. That's a whole different dynamic on the traumas and the demons that people have. You got to go all the way back to the childhood and understand what you didn't address then and how you didn't address it. And how
Right.
you,
Like respectfully, your son was pre-positioned to joining the Marine Corps from a young age because of whatever he's seen, went through, and how he chose to handle it. We were kind of crazy to join the military to begin with, and then to go to the Marine Corps, right?
right.
Not many people are willing to sign up to do that.
No, because it's by far the hardest of all four branches. I don't care what you say, right?
For sure.
You just, I mean, because if you're a Marine, you can leave the Marine Corps and 2 days later decide you want to go be in the Army, and you just walk into the Army like, okay, sign here, because you're a badass. Like nobody does the crucible except the
Right.
Marines, right? We had friends that their kids went into the military as well. One went to the Air Force, and they were fucking calling home every other day because they kept their cell phones. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, and then our son had the mindset that he was going to be a drill instructor. So he went from accounting, supply, and logistics, and then got accepted to the boot camp for drill instructor. So he went through boot camp twice, and then he became the drill instructor. So then he's going through boot camp again as the drill instructor side of it. So talk about insanity, right? It
Right.
just, but you know, he's kind of driven like that, and he likes to be challenged. He's got to have something in front of him to go after. Otherwise, he just gets bored out of his mind, and then the brain starts wandering, and he was, our lifetime together wasn't anything traumatic, or we were a very well grounded family. Had family dinners, and both my wife and I were completely involved in both our kids' lives. I coached Jake throughout his youth and things like that. So it's not like we were just neglectful parents. We were super involved. So.
I didn't mean that
No,
whatsoever.
no,
right?
no, no, no. I know you
And
didn't. I know you didn't.
Even the best relationships, there's still trauma in there.
Sure.
Because there's no way your needs were met 110% of the time.
Right.
And if you have multiple kids, this is something I just learned, and I'm a dad
Okay.
myself now, right?
Yeah. Right
That
on.
your kids are not experiencing the same parents ever, right? Because of the age gap. So you've learned from your first child moving on to your second child. You may be a little bit more lenient on your second child than you were your first child, and
Right.
that causes like hard feelings, traumas. Like you're potentially choosing the other child over the other, and that's not.
Right.
As a parent, we're just trying to do the best we can with
Yeah.
what we have, right?
Right.
Becoming a parent has also helped mentally, and it also just has hurt mentally, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
it takes a toll on you. It's such a blessing, and it's so stressful all at the same time.
Right.
But you also got to recognize, looking back at your parents, whatever resentment, grudge, happiness you hold towards them, we got to realize that, wow, they were just experiencing this for their first time as well. You got to be more lenient on our parents as well.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
My parents are assholes, man. I haven't talked
Yeah,
to my
but think
mother
about how they
probably-
grew up and what they had. I'm not justifying it.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
Chris?
yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's just.
Well, I think the biggest illusion on this planet is there's such a thing as an adult, right? We all strove to become an adult. When I grow up, I'm going to do this. It's an
Right.
illusion.
Yeah. And your adult's fueled by your inner child monologue that's inside you. That's
Your
why we
parents
gotta
are just people that did the best they could with what they had, right?
Absolutely.
In Chris's case, unfortunately, his parents didn't have much, right? But I felt like I grew up in what people call the nuclear family, right? And even my mom and dad, they're just people, right? They did the best they could. They admit that. I'm not saying anything they don't admit. Luckily, I had parents that admitted that. We did the best we could with what we had, the information that we were armed with at the time. You just said it. I was the oldest, so I was their experiment, right?
Yeah.
The next two, they learned from that, so they got a little better and they got a little better. You hear that the youngest always got the best treatment. Well, of course they did, because your parents were at their best at that point. If you had one kid, unfortunately, that kid didn't get that experience. But the older kid in the relationship is always going to feel like they got screwed, and the younger kid's always going to feel like they got screwed, just from a different side, right?
Yeah, because the younger kid's always going to want to be able to do the thing that the older kid's going to be able to do. The older kid's always going to want the freedoms and like the quote unquote softness that the younger sibling is getting. It's so crazy. If you pay attention, each sibling, whether you're the first, middle, or last child, they all come with their own like traumas and like tics and all of that. Where if you pay attention and you could start noticing the pattern, like, sir, I can't give an example, so I feel like I'm just talking on my ass right now. So
No, I
fine.
like what
No,
you
you're-
I like
no,
what you
no,
said
you're fine.
earlier about that each kid has a different experience from their parents. I've never really heard it put into those words, but I've heard that story told in just that way, right?
right.
You got three kids in a family, and you'll hear those three kids tell the same story from a completely different angle, right?
Yep.
Oh, my mom and dad dressed me in such horrible clothes. Well, the next kid might say, my mom and dad dressed us the best they could with what they had, right? We were poor at the time.
Yeah.
That kid understood that, at that moment in time, their family was going through a hardship. Where the other kid, all they were thinking about is they were getting made fun of at school because they weren't going to school with the latest, greatest, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I like what you said there, that no two kids have the same view of the way they were raised.
That's
Yeah.
that's really interesting too, because I want to form that question to my kids and ask them, hey,
I do for you
know,
too.
ask
That's what I
each-
thought of
yeah.
right away when he said that.
Ask each one of my kids what's your perception of your upbringing, because that'll be a really interesting response, because we had we had a boy and a girl, which is cool. So whenever it was asked, well, Jake's your favorite. Well, you're my favorite daughter. Well, I'm your
Yeah.
favorite. No, you're my favorite son. She's my favorite daughter. So that was the best way around that. I'm the favorite kid. Well, you're the favorite daughter, because I didn't really have a favorite kid. And now my daughter has blessed us with two grandkids that are going to be 6, and the other one's just over 2.5. And that's kind of a trip, because my approach now, because I have my youngest, I have the oldest one, little man, I call him. I've had him every morning during the week since he was 3 weeks old. But my approach to him is it's so different than what it was with Sky and than what it was with Jake. So much so that my wife will tell me that I have blinders on when it comes to Anthony. But at the same time, Anthony respects me more than he respects his own mother and my wife and his dad, just for the simple fact that I've consistently been in his life every single day. So when he needs, that stern moment, I get that voice, and he just, whoa.
He respects you. You can see
Right.
it in his eyes. Even in the little clips that you post
Yeah.
online, it's like he's like hanging on your every move.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting, man. I never thought of that. I never
I
thought
didn't
of your
either, man.
approach
It's-
to that, Jay.
Blew my
Matt.
mind.
This
There's
is why we
actually-
do this, dude, because we just learn stuff every single time. It's crazy.
I'm not sure if it's considered research or what, but there is a study out or documentation out of 2 twins that grew up with an abusive alcoholic father.
Okay.
And they're trying to figure out if it's nature or nurture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both kids, one kid became, like, we'll say, a priest, doesn't drink, treats women correctly. The other kid is a direct example of his father, an alcoholic, mean, abusive, whatever. And they were asked the same question: what made you this way? And they gave the same answer: look how I was raised. Look
Well,
at
see,
my
that-
dad.
Yeah. That just hit me, because I'm a 20-year recovering alcoholic, and Jake's not old enough really to understand. He didn't remember it because I stopped. He's 24, so I stopped young enough for him not to really have memories. But my daughter, who's 5 years older, wow, that just smacked me upside the head. Josh, thanks, man.
Yeah, well,
Because
well,
she went
first of
down,
all-
she went down a path. This is where I'm going. She went down a path, a very dark path for several years, and so now I can't. Now that's just making me think, oh shit. So I'm going to ask that question, because it'll be interesting to see her response. Because I think Jake's reaction to her chaos was, that's why he joined the military. Like we were those parents. Once you're done with high school, you get a job, you go to school, or you join the military. There's no fucking around. There's no sleeping in until 10 o'clock. There's no, going out with your friends till 3 a.m. No, you have to have a direction in life. One of these things has to happen. And he didn't like school. He just didn't like studying. He's got my brain, unfortunately, not my wife's. He had a couple jobs, but didn't like them because they were just, pissant server jobs and things like that. Not that that's not a bad occupation. Just for a kid, it's just,
Just wasn't his thing.
So he just, right. So he came home one day from high school and said, I'm going to the Army. I'm going to be a diver. I'm like, whoa, dude, there's not divers in the Army. Who's feeding you bullshit? And I had a good friend that my wife's actually caught their kids, and then they used me to help them purchase a home. So I'm like, hey, we're going to call Steve. Steve West is going to come over, and he's a Marine. He's going to talk to you. And I knew he would give Jake the just the real raw relevance about all 4 branches, the ups and downs, ins and outs. And they sat in the dining room for about an hour and a half, and he hadn't made up his mind yet. This is kind of a funny story. And Steve leaves, and so Jake and I kind of talk a little bit. But I'm like, dude, you do you. I got your back regardless. Next day he went to see Toy Story 4 with one of his buddies from high school. Came home. He's like, I'm joining the Marines. Okay. How does Toy Story 4 equate to joining the Marines, son? I don't know, Dad. I'm just going to do it. I'm like, all right, cool. You're going to be a badass. So, but that's interesting. So, yeah, I'll tell you how that answer is when I ask my daughter that question, because I've never asked her about her upbringing and how she looked at it, and I never really asked her what made her turn to the dark side, or so that's going to be an interesting response. That may shape my day, Fro.
And don't don't put that all on you, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you ended up setting the right example. You got
Sure.
sober,
Oh
you
yeah.
took care
Yeah.
of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And don't be two ways. Don't be surprised if your daughter doesn't fully tell you the truth and open
Okay.
up, because like I don't know your guys' relationship, so I don't know how comfortable she's gonna feel, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you want to keep things from your parents still, but also be ready if she opens up and spills something you never thought you were expecting to hear. Be prepared
Yeah.
for that.
Oh yeah.
So
Good
don't
idea.
like freak out. And
Okay.
also, I hate to tell you about your son, but he was a contractual alcoholic unless he had some
Yeah, oh,
strong
he's no, he's
willpower.
had no, he's had and I don't want to throw him under the bus. I don't want to throw him and the kids under the bus, but he's he's a really good kid. He's very smart, but he's made some decisions that I think he regrets. He didn't start drinking until he got into the Marines. And
Accurate.
I've preached right, and I've preached to him and preached to him and preached to him. You know, so I don't, because I don't see him every day. I can't say whether he's an alcoholic, whether he has a problem. You know, there's some stuff that's happened since he's been Marine that kind of pushes the envelope as far as, okay, you have a problem with drinking. You know, he's gone in and out of cycles of being sober. I'm going to stop drinking for this amount of time. But because he's not at arm's length for me, I can't really ascertain what his actual consumption of alcohol and how dependent or not dependent he is on it, if that makes sense. But I get what you're saying, because it is in my DNA. So both of them have that you know, example per se. And I mean, I wasn't abusive. I was mentally not there. Emotionally wasn't there. I was kind of an ass. But I
I'm
was
saying contractually, as
Yeah.
when he signed the contract for the Marine Corps,
Oh,
that
yeah.
obligates you.
Well, and
into
you just
becoming
said something really
Yeah.
important too, Chris, that your nature part of it, the nurture part of it, the nature part of it is in his DNA, right? It was
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
DNA. If your mother or father is an addict,
Right.
your chances of being an addict scientifically are super high. That's just
Correct. Yeah.
you know. So I guess what I'm saying is, people can't beat themselves up for that part of it either.
No,
You know,
not at all.
He knew
And
that
you know-
you were an
and you- yeah.
alcoholic. She
Yeah.
knew you were an alcoholic. So they have some skin in the game going into it too. I'm just saying,
Sure.
for parents out there who beat themselves up, it's like 50% of that is out of your control, because
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
it's burned into your chromosomes. It's in your DNA, right?
Yeah, and you know this, Mike. You probably don't know this, Josh, because you don't know my story and stuff. But with what our daughter went down that path of what she went down, Nikki and I, first thing we said, it's not our fault. Like we didn't make these decisions. Kind of like my approach to recovery with alcohol. Like everybody's like higher power work, and I say this all the time. God didn't make me drink. I made myself drink. God didn't make me stop. I made myself stop. So we have our own ownership. It's this a free choice, right? We have that ability to choose as humans, right or wrong, whatever it is. We have that free will. So both my kids, yeah, they grew up with an alcoholic father. Skylar was maybe 10 when by the time I stopped. Jake was 4 to 5-ish. So Skylar's going to have more memories than Jake will. You know, I can remember shit from back when I was 3 and 4 years old at the trauma side of life. So it'll be interesting to see what he kind of responds to that question too, to see if there's some kind of trauma that he's still processing from that time frame. You know, it's interesting, man. It's an interesting approach to this, Josh.
No question.
Yeah, and a lot of it is our subconscious, right? Like we don't understand the whys because we don't talk to ourselves enough. We don't figure it out. But we start craving, or we want something, or we do something, so we do it. But it's deep down fueled by our subconscious, right? There's
Yeah.
been evidence that kids have trauma from the umbilical cord being wrapped around their neck during delivery.
heard
So
that.
it's crazy how far trauma is stored in our body, and we have to find ways to release it, right? It takes a stronger man to cry and talk about his emotions
Oh,
than
yeah.
the one that
No question.
bottles it up and is just an angry asshole all the time.
Right. And that's the difference between this generation and last, right? Because the generation where Mike's parents grew up, it's like there's stoic. Nothing affects me. I'm this brick wall of just, I'm a man. You know, you
Yeah.
don't see me cry. You don't see me. There's nothing, man. There's nothing that affects me at all.
Which is
ever.
complete bullshit for
Right,
everybody out there
right.
that's still hanging on to that. If you're that
Yeah.
guy, you're wrong. Just so you know, that will kill you.
I do
Abs-
believe there are certain times where you have to be that stoic and strong individual.
Of course you
Um,
do.
I
When
was
you're
given the
defending your family or protecting your family
or just showing up for your family, right?
Mhm.
Like as
Amen.
much this is something I'm actively working on, and it's hard, right? Like I want my wife to be my person. I want to be able to tell her everything and anything.
Mm.
That does not always work out in my favor because either she doesn't understand what I'm saying or I
Yeah.
feel a type of way for telling her. Now I'm judging how she's judging me or whatever. But I was introduced to this saying that you got to be the man in the arena sometimes.
Mm.
When all eyes are on you, you have to perform. But once you get back in that tunnel and nobody's watching, you need to decompress. So we
Yes.
need to let it out. Whether you do it by yourself healthily and not picking up a bottle or smoking or whatever your poison is, or by going to the gym, talking to a
Mm-hmm.
buddy, there's all sorts of different ways. And if you ever feel like you're alone in a situation where nobody's ever experienced this, nobody ever understands, shut the fuck up and wake up, dude.
Yep.
We've all been there. There's somebody going through something and you just never know. That's what I love about my podcast. It's like mental health focused, and I try to learn about their whole life from beginning sandbox to the end, right?
Cool.
And to what they're doing now. And that's because I feel like people, Chris, look up to Chris. People look up to Mike. They're like, "Oh man, you guys are such badasses. You handle things in a different way. You don't struggle XYZ. You come on the podcast, you share your story about why you struggle, how you struggle, but
That's
then you
so
also share
important,
how you
Josh.
cope. So we're learning these different tools and techniques, or we can recognize the negative, like, oh shit, I have that bad trait as well. Let me try to work on improving that and see how the rest of my life improves and just keep growing. Like we learn from everyone, good or bad.
That's totally something I was just, it's funny how things just come around at the right time. I was just thinking about that yesterday while I was taking a shower. It's like, it's important for us to make sure that people understand that Chris and I and Josh struggle every day just like they do. And that's why Chris makes a point at the end of the podcast to say what he says. We have bad days just like everybody else. And we try and open up about it on the show for the same reason that you just said. It may look like we've tackled and conquered life and we got it by the balls and now we're succeeding. That's true to an extent, but we still have to protect our peace of mind. We still have to take time, like you said, to decompress, to process the things that have gone wrong in our lives and to handle it in a healthy, constructive way. Instead of reaching for the bottle, instead of reaching for the pipe, instead of reaching for the line of cocaine or whatever. It's just important that right there, what he just put
Love
up
it.
is so important. Somebody out there loves you. Somebody cares about you. Somebody would miss you if you're not here tomorrow, even if you don't. On your worst day, you think nobody gives a shit about me. Nobody's listening to me. I've been through this myself. I
Yep.
felt like the whole world was against me and no one was for me, and nothing could have been further from the truth, right? There was people all around me that loved me. I just couldn't see it.
Right.
Right.
And like, did awareness? I had a boss used to tell me awareness is $1 million word, and like after he explained it, it made sense to me. But the more that I start to become aware of things, it makes sense why it's $1 million word. Because us as a society, we're so quick to fall into this victim mindset, and sometimes you don't even realize you're being the victim, right? But as soon as you're aware you're being the victim and aware that your choices led you to where you're at, doesn't matter the other. Okay, it semi matters the other people's reactions, but it's your actions and continued choices that keep you where you're at, right? So I actively have to wake up or go to bed every day talking positive, self-loving, caring thoughts. Because before I would just spiral and think of everything I hate in my life or what I'm mad about today and just
Me too. I went
spiral
through
and
that
go down.
period too.
Yeah, dude. So it's a struggle every day, but it's a struggle worth fighting for.
And that mindset that you just said, Josh, is something that people really need to take to heart. And I'm guilty of it as well. And I still go through these periods where Chris said it about his drinking. God didn't put the drink in his hand. God didn't make him stop drinking. No one is going to come save you. That is such a hard lesson for people to get over. You cannot be of help to anyone else until you help yourself, right?
Absolutely.
I don't like that term, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, because everyone is born into a different situation, right? If you're born into the ghetto, getting out of that ghetto is a lot harder than the guy sitting up on the hill thinks it is, right? But both of those people every day have to decide that they are going to be a positive influence into the world, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh telling Mike, you have to be a more positive person. Well, that's a true statement, but just you saying that is not going to make me a positive person. Mike has to do that for himself,
Right.
just like Chris had to quit drinking,
Yeah,
just
you
like
have to
Mike had to
choose it
quit
for
doing
yourself.
drugs. Yes, I just
That's
think
that
that's
free
such
will.
a huge positive concept that it gets overlooked all the time. Free will,
Yeah.
perfect
And
term.
the crazy part is the person will just say living in Beverly Hills versus the one living in the ghetto. They could potentially have the same mindset, but they're stuck in their own forest, their own weeds that they don't see the avenues out of one avenue or out of the other,
That's a
right?
brilliant statement, dude.
And that's
Right.
The
why
guy in Beverly Hills might just be as miserable as the guy living in the ghetto, or vice versa. The
Yeah.
guy living in the ghetto might be super happy, just like the guy living in Beverly Hills. I always
Yeah.
say life is perspective, right?
Yeah.
it
It's
is.
all in how you're approaching it from your mindset.
Absolutely. And like that's all you can control is yourself and your mindset. And the wildest thing that I have learned is that like we're not our own thoughts. And that blows my mind because like who the fuck's up there then? You know, if that's not me, then who is it? But we just got to accept which thoughts we want to dwell on, right? If you're having a great day and the negative thought comes in, yeah, you can either choose to sit with that negative thought and spiral and make it a bad day, or you could choose to like push that to the side and not allow yourself to think about that and force yourself to think about something happy or something you're grateful for. It's supposedly scientifically proven that you cannot be grateful and depressed about something at the same time. So when I start feeling down about something, I think of the adverse, like the thing I'm grateful for.
I
So I
try and
try to
do the
talk
same
about being
thing.
grateful, so that way I don't allow myself to go to the negative. And some days, dude, I feel like I'm flat out lying to myself and I'm just reading a script. You know,
Yep.
Bart Simpson writing, "I will not skate in school again" or whatever on the chalkboard over and over again. That's exactly what I'm doing, but with
I've
like
told Chris before on this show, I should get some kind of fucking award for what I do every day because I should have been an actor. Because it really is an act for me to go do my job every day. It's a great job. I make good money. It's not like there's people that would die for that job, but in my mind, it's just not what I want to do every day. It is an act, but I
yeah,
choose to go make the best of it, right? So the way I look at
absolutely.
life is the things that I don't want to do, it's almost like a Zen moment. I'm like, this is what I'm doing for this moment. For this span of hours, this is my life for right now. After it, I'm going to go do whatever. But instead of looking at it like, oh my God, I got to go to work and I'm not going to make it through and this is going to be the worst day ever. Well, people do that every day and it is the worst day ever for them every day. And then they
Yeah.
look at me and they say, how come you're always smiling? Because I woke up, because I'm alive, because I'm breathing. Or do you need any other
Because you're
reasons?
choosing to.
Yes. Thank you.
Just like
Yeah.
they're choosing to frown, you're choosing to smile.
Thank you.
And one thing I really had
Yeah.
to work on as well is that like it's not a bad day, it's a bad moment. It's a bad hour.
Yes.
And forcing myself not to allow it to be a bad day.
I told Chris when I went
like
through
that.
my recovery, that's how I took life was I started with 10 seconds at a time because I was a horrible addict. So I went from 10 seconds to 10 minutes to 10 hours to 10 days, and here we are 18 years later or whatever. But it started with those micro moments in time, I called them. If I can just make it through
Okay.
this moment in time, I'll be okay, right?
That's your awareness. That's where the $1 million word comes in, aware. You became aware. You just have to focus on the next 10 seconds, the next 10 minutes. When I was in boot camp, our drill instructors told us the best thing to do is focus on making it to the next chow. Don't worry about how far away graduation seems. Worry about making it to the next chow, to the next chow, to the next chow, and then you'll be at graduation.
That's totally my mindset, man. So when someone thinks they can out willpower me, I've been willpowering for 18 years to not do hard drugs. So get in line.
Congratulations to the both of you
Thank you.
on that.
Now, with you,
Um,
Josh, I want to circle back to you a little bit here. So when you came out of the Marines, how long were you kind of like just struggling with, okay, what am I going to do? Where am I going? What kind of time transition did that take to get you from getting out to kind of finding your niche and then moving forward with that?
So I got out in 2017, and sometimes to this day, I still feel like I'm struggling trying to figure it out.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
The first couple of years almost are a blur.
Really?
Uh, I was still drinking at that time. Got into a relationship that was toxic at that time,
Mm.
and it's just kind of all a blur in a sense. So like the first couple of years, I didn't even think I was struggling. I didn't think I was lost. I didn't think anything. I just thought I was going through life.
Mm.
Uh, and then it took me 3 4 years in to realize, oh shit, I am kind of lost. I still feel that way to this day, right? But I'm also trying to grow something that I don't necessarily have a model to to mimic, to go after, right? Like,
Okay.
so along what I'm trying to do with the sandbox and my podcast is become this generation's version of the VFW and
Ah,
Lions Club combined.
nice.
Except
Okay.
it's going to be focused on being substance free and community healing.
Mm.
I'll never be able to get rid of those half true war stories. That's just going to be part of nature, right? But I
Right.
can take the drinking or the smoking or whatever substance it is out of the situation.
Yeah.
And then I like to say us as veterans have collectively donned the oxygen mask on the airplanes,
Mm-hmm.
but the mental health one. And now we're ready to spread throughout our community to help rebuild and regrow. So
Mm.
eventually, we're going to be doing things for the community that are all led by veterans, whether it's a simple pancake breakfast and the veterans and first responders are the ones serving our community. Because everything I feel is dividing us. That's
Yeah.
what people are trying to do, is keep us divided. And I'm tired of that. Like,
Yeah.
why? Let's just all come together.
Yeah.
Agree.
No. Yeah. I stopped watching the news, dude, because I just got fed up with everything so negative and it's depressing. And there's no accuracy to it anymore. It's turned
It's
into
entertainment.
entertainment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
And
news is
and yeah. Yeah.
what I've learned is that the news is like pure propaganda for whoever
Mm-hmm.
owns it, and they're
Yep.
only putting their side out there
That's
with
it.
an added spin to make it spicier for the TV, to make you want to pay attention. Um,
And for me,
But
yeah,
it's clickbait because I don't watch the news. Like literally, I will not watch the news. I can't say never, but maybe 5 times since 2008 I've watched the news. I mean, that's it.
And I don't go
So
with never, but the one thing
yeah,
that, what would you say changed immediately in your life by not watching the news?
I wasn't depressed before.
That's the point I was just going to make. If
So
you're
and
one
I
of those
would
people that
yeah.
watches that shit every day, for
Yeah.
Christ's sake, shut it off for a
It's
week
right
and
because
see
it's
how
gonna
much your life changes. How many positive stories do you hear on the news in a half-hour news cycle? Maybe one.
Maybe, yeah. And see, that's the whole reason too why I started Good News Arizona in 2 weeks into COVID, because everything was just so negative, negative, negative. So I called a buddy up like, hey, let's go do this. And it that took on its own life because people were tuning in for the sheer fact it was just Arizona based and everything was good news. It was stuff I would just pull off social media and things. It was nothing but a positive, and it wasn't even a spin. It was just like if I had ran into you back then, Josh, we would have talked on Good News Arizona about Sandbox. Like this is a great outlet. It's a great resource for veterans and first responders to come with like-minded people, but that's what it was about because the news is so bad. And coming from somebody who went to school to be a journalist, one of the things I had to do in college was time a newscast from start to finish with a stopwatch. And every time they had a news story, you press start. And when they're done with the news story, you press stop. In a 30-minute news show, which now is like 32 minutes, there was 4 minutes or so of actual concrete news. Everything else was fluff and what the hell is the word? I don't know. My brain lost it. But you know, the fake shit,
Filler.
the fillers and the smoke and mirrors and
Kind of like there's 2 good songs on an album and the other 8 suck.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was commercials and rhetoric and conversations between the anchors. Weather you don't count as news because you're just reporting, on the weather. So it's just you take the weather out, everything else is 4 minutes of actual hardcore news that.
And here's
would
the other
relate.
thing, real quick. Can you ever get a point across in a 3-minute soundbite with 4 people talking over each other? Right? We're limited on time today a little bit, but we still blew up your story to the point where you could tell it in a way you wanted to. You couldn't do that in 3 minutes on CNN if Chris and I were talking in addition to you. You would have never got your point across. That's the other thing that people don't realize is Josh just said it a second ago. You're hearing what they want you to hear from their angle to sell their advertising.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I can't impress upon people enough about television is you are literally watching what they want you to watch to sell the advertisement they want to sell. That's what television is.
Yep. Prime
It's
example.
not about the program, it's about the advertising for them. You're looking at it from one direction, they're looking at it from another.
Prime example. I just finished watching the Charlie Sheen thing on Netflix. Okay.
Was it
the
good?
Final unbelievable.
Okay.
The final 2 years, he was so down the dark path of his addictions, smoking 7 grams of crack at a time. Like, it was crazy. They made him the highest paid TV star at $2 million an episode for $2.5 million for the last 2 years because they were making
I did know that.
$155 million a year in revenue from ads. And they kept offering him money. He kept saying no. Him and his attorney just kept saying, no, I'm done. And then they threw $2 million at him. And he's like, what do you do with that?
Can't say
But
no.
they could care less about his struggles and his addictions, and it was out there. They were talking to Chuck Lorre on the documentary, and he's like, you knew something was going on. John Cryer, you knew something was going on, but how do you stop it? Because he's the meal ticket. He's the reason that I'm getting paid. He's the reason for my livelihood.
You
So
just
all
made
these
my
people-
point.
Right. So all these people around Charlie Sheen see the train wreck, and John Cryer even said it. He's like, the world wanted the train wreck. It was the first real explosion of social media, and Charlie could do nothing wrong that would deter the world from watching him. They liked watching the train wreck. They liked watching the chaos. They like, oh, he shot such and such, and she claims it was an accident. It fell off the dresser and hit her. He put his knife to the throat of this chick. Same time that Tiger Woods does his shit, Charlie Sheen's apologizing for domestic violence. Everybody embraces Charlie. Fuck you, Tiger.
You know
it
why?
It was crazy. I
Because
don't know
we-
why.
Because it all goes back to what I've said 100 times. Life is perspective, right? We expect that out of Charlie Sheen. We
Right.
expected more out of Tiger,
From Tiger Woods. This is true. There you
right?
go.
It's the hypocrisy of the whole deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's insane. It's insane what they. And he takes ownership of everything, but it's insane that everybody knowing full blown that he was going through this total chaotic train wreck.
Chris
They
Dunham,
paid him $2 million an episode. $2 million. The highest paid actor ever per episode.
Chris Dunham.
What?
You know I love this conversation, but we got to get Josh out of here, and I want him to have a chance to plug the rest of his stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Plug the rest of your stuff, man.
Okay, wait, before I even do that,
Yeah.
I've been like trying to keep this in my brain the whole time.
Okay,
But
okay.
for your son, Chris, there's a program called Skill Bridge where I believe it's up to the last 6 months of his contract,
Okay.
he can end up getting he can end up interning at an organization. He can learn how to weld. He can learn all sorts of different things. There's a whole bunch of different businesses on there now
Okay.
that he could potentially get a quote unquote internship where he'll still get paid through the Marine Corps, but he gets to go. It's like a bridge into the civilian life. He doesn't have
Okay.
to do Marine Corps things
That's
anymore. He goes and does whatever he's learning for those 6 months.
Okay. Yeah, his thing he's in right now, he's trying to be a firefighter, so he's found something within the Marine Corps that will help that transition. So that's cool.
That might be Skill Bridge, but
Okay, cool.
that's awesome. Good for him. And
Okay, so we got
don't
90
hesitate to
90
send
seconds.
him.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, yeah.
Not to
So,
interrupt you. Yeah. Drop all your stuff. We got 90 seconds left, so tell people how to find you. Tell them how to find your podcast. Tell them how to find your networking stuff because we want to get that out there.
Okay, yeah. So you can find me on social media by JMac Podcast. That's JMACH Podcast. All streaming sources the same way. My website's jmacpodcast.org. The sandbox is JMac Sandbox on Instagram. Anywhere you find JMac Podcast, you're going to find everything I do with
Cool.
the sandbox as well. It's out here in Surprise, Arizona. I'm just trying to combat veteran and first responder suicide, one story, one conversation at a time, while reminding everybody they're not alone. We all have our struggles. Gentlemen,
So
it's been a pleasure being on here.
I love
Yeah,
it, brother.
so-
Thank you for
so
coming on.
absolutely.
Please come back.
So you're gonna dig.
Will
You're gonna
do.
dig this. You're gonna dig this, J-Mac, because this is how we end up this is how we wrap up every single show. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how you're feeling. If you're depressed, if you're feeling suicidal, somebody's gonna miss you. Somebody's gonna love you. Don't leave a hole in somebody's heart because you decided not to wake up tomorrow. Go run. Go journal. Go work out. Go scream in a pillow. Call somebody. Anybody will talk to you, whether you believe it or not. You are loved. You will be missed. So don't make that choice. If you need help, text 988. It's there 24/7. Someone will listen to you. Someone will help you. And tomorrow is a better day. So it'll be even better day with you waking up in it. So until next time, I'm Chris Dunham. He's Mike Michaels. That's JMac Podcast. He's doing great things. By all means, go check him out, especially first responders, veterans, because what he's doing is something that needs to be done. And appreciate you for doing that, Josh. And learned a lot today.
Thanks again, brother.
Yeah,
My
Pleasure to
pleasure.
meet you.
Thank
man.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for your service too, man. From my military family to yours. Hoorah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
support. And Chris, I better see you at the sandbox. No excuses.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We'll talk again.